Assalamu alaikum, I'm Hiba.
And I'm Zaid,
You're listening to Diary of a Matchmaker.
a podcast that will take you into our world as matchmakers.
We'll share our experiences and offer advice for the single Muslim.
So let's dive in.
Bismillah.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Welcome back to another episode.
Assalamu alaikum.
I think the one thing that we haven't talked much about when it comes to marriage is the examples of our parents and our grandparents. Like, we all know with age comes wisdom.
Yeah.
Well, I guess sometimes it doesn't, but generally speaking, it does.
And grey hair.
And gray hair.
And wrinkles.
And stress.
Actually, today's generation, by the way, is the generation with most stress and anxiety levels in all of history.
I wonder why.
Yeah.
We could dedicate an episode to that, actually.
I just heard the other day about these like retirement, what are they called? Like retirement centers for people in their 20s.
Retirement centers.
Yes, people
and
are
what does it serve?
They just decide to retire from stress and work and whatever in their 20s. One was in China and one is in Malaysia or Singapore. What is
They
the
have
word?
the money to retire at that age?
I don't know how. I don't know. Maybe these are like people who made it early and I don't know, gamers and whatever, but they are filled with stress.
Wow, there's something to take from that.
Yeah.
Were our parents or parents as stressed, or I don't know, how different was it back then?
Either they were stressed just like us, but they managed to hide it well,
Okay.
or they actually weren't stressed like we are. They were just living simpler times, simpler lives.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
So it kind of ties into what we want to talk about today, which is, was the previous generation happier? Specifically in the context of marriage.
Of course.
Right? And when we think back about our parents and our parents' parents, I feel like a lot of people, at least I can't think of many relationships from that generation or the generation above them that were very happy, fulfilling, nurturing type of relationships, like the kind of relationships that I would want to model myself after. Can you think of any?
From all the people I know, whether it's like my parents' friends, aunties, uncles, all of those generations, I can think of one couple.
Tell me about that couple.
Well, you've actually met them when we were in Palestine.
Yeah.
You've met the woman. She was a very pious person. She tested you on your Quran.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
The one who's very strict about the Hanafi madhab. That one,
Okay,
right?
you could say that.
Yeah.
She's my mom's friend. She's a dear family friend. And from what I know, from what I see, and from what everybody sees, they have a good marriage, a healthy, loving marriage. Their life was filled with challenges, life struggles, but they are so peaceful and loving to each other.
Right. And so when we talk about happy, fulfilling marriages, we're not talking about marriages that are free of conflict and disagreements and arguments. I mean, the Prophet ﷺ had those.
Exactly.
Right? So that it's not about that, but it's about a marriage where you're just not tolerating the other person, where you're just trying to get through the day, get by through your life until you die.
Maybe you are tolerating them, but you're not happy, you're not fulfilled, you're not, I don't know, how would you put a happy marriage in words? It's not a healthy marriage.
So let's try to frame marriages back then. What were marriages designed for back then?
That's a very good point, because we're comparing two things, their marriages and our marriages.
Right? Times have changed drastically.
But are they are we comparing two similar things, like two things on the same level, or what?
I think marriages today, there's more an element of fulfillment and happiness. Individualism, which obviously from any perspective, individualism is a bad thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely back then, marriage was more about survival. It was more about stability, following social norms. I remember something you always say about your dad when you were sharing the fact that you were not interested in having children with your dad was like, he was so shocked and just didn't understand.
Didn't. It's like I'm presenting this foreign idea to him.
Yeah, like, because I feel like he comes from a generation where like marriage equals children, right? The
Exactly,
purpose,
yeah.
right? So that's another purpose.
You
of
get married to have children.
To have children,
Yeah.
exactly.
So if you're not going to have children, why get married?
Exactly. So to add that to the list stability, following social norms, children, all of those things. That's kind of what
Family
marriage,
ties.
maintaining family ties, yes. But nowadays, it's more about fulfillment, happiness,
Self-actualization.
self-actualization. Like,
Big word.
Big word.
I mean, like, I need to fulfill myself. I need to contribute somehow. I need to be like the best version of myself.
Right. And marriage has to fulfill that purpose.
Marriage. So now we put way too much weight on marriage and on the spouse.
They have to be our financial coach, our therapist, our fitness coach.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that.
So that's a big difference. So it is unfair for us to back project marriage today with marriage back then. It was different. It served a different purpose, and it serves a different purpose today.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, we can take some lessons from that generation. There are definitely things that they got right, and definitely things that they got wrong. And same applies to us.
Yeah.
Definitely some things we're getting right and some things we're getting wrong.
Yeah.
So inshallah, we'll dive into that.
Let's go.
So what did the previous generation get right? I think by default, they were just kind of by luck brought into that time and that environment. Less choices.
Of course.
Right? They didn't have to go into the grocery store and choose between 100 different toothpastes. They had maybe 5, if that.
No, even 5 sounds like too much.
Right? And now what do we find at Walmart? 100 different brands. And it takes us 15 minutes to go grab some toothpaste.
But so it's same applies when it comes to marriage. They didn't have, like, you had a choice between your 2 cousins or the neighbor's daughter.
Right.
That's it.
I think we dedicated an episode to that was the illusion of options.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did that. So, fewer choices is one point. What else did they get right?
So because they had fewer choices, it was easier to commit. It was easier and faster to get married.
Yeah.
And they didn't have a lot to compare with. They didn't have the social media we have.
They didn't have Tinder or Minder or Muzmatch.
Exactly.
They're swiping through 100 before they find the right person. Right?
Yeah.
And that's the kind of the irony that we're living in today, right? We have an abundance of options, at least we think we do, and yet we're still facing a singlehood crisis.
That, if you remember when we watched that show about minimalism, they were talking about the dilemma of choice. Like when you have 3 shirts in your closet, in your wardrobe, like it's not difficult to choose from them every day. But when you have 15 different shirts, you add that extra pressure and extra effort you have to put every single day to decide which shirt. Same thing, you have to match it with 1 of 15 pair of pants.
Not to mention the wastage of mental energy and
time and exactly.
All of that stuff. Yeah.
So same applies here, I guess. But what they also had, clear roles. It was clear to them. Right. What were the man's role? What was the woman's role? Even if sometimes it was unfair.
Yeah.
But that led to way less ambiguity. They didn't have this, what you bring to the table, what I bring to the table, how will you contribute and how will I contribute? There was
no 50-50 discussion.
No 50-50. No, how will you balance life and home duties, work and home duties.
Right.
There wasn't any of that. Even like I said, sometimes it came on the expense of fairness.
Yeah, exactly. And if they assessed compatibility, there was no love language quiz.
Oh, that's another thing.
There was no Gottman Institute course that they would go through. There's no
attachment styles.
Premarital training course. Like, I'm not bashing these things. These are great things to consider and go through. But also, there is also something else, which we'll get into in just a little bit, called analysis paralysis, right? Like, people analyze so much that they get to a point where they just don't know how to move forward.
Exactly. So
simplicity does play a big part. Right? We are overcomplicating marriages today. Another thing that I really feel the older generation tackled well was this village concept. That there was a good community system behind marriage. People were always well connected and looking out for one another, suggesting spouses to one another. And we've lost that here.
There was a heavy family involvement, and this has its good side and bad side.
Yes.
But marriages were held by a system, not by emotions.
Or there was no individualism behind it.
There was no individualism, and
it
also
wasn't like everybody looking out for each other or for themselves.
Exactly. Like now, it's easier to act out of desire, out of a whim, out of, like you said, individualism. But back then, like you had to think 100 times before thinking about separation. Because it's not just you and the person separating. It's like two families separating. It's a village that's just coming apart.
Yeah.
Okay, so apparently the previous generation got a lot of things right and that we didn't. But the question is, if they got it right, why are we carrying so much trauma and so much negativity from those experiences, from our parents' marriages and our aunties and uncles' marriages?
Because we grew up, or at least I grew up, seeing the bad things. Obviously, we didn't see our parents get married. We saw our parents after they got married.
We saw them fight.
We saw our parents fight. We saw, I mean, I'm not going to go into those details, but we saw many things that we shouldn't have seen. And so clearly there were some things they got wrong. And we'll dive into that in just a moment. But just to make it clear, we're not painting a rosy picture, right? We're not saying that any generation got the perfect formula for marriage, because there is no perfect formula for marriage.
So I guess what we need to do is identify what they got right, what we got right, and try to fuse it and create something better.
Right. And also take lessons from what they got wrong and what we got wrong.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
And so that we're not repeating the same mistakes.
Exactly.
Exactly.
You know, I would have loved to have this episode with a person from that generation.
Let's get your mom on the podcast.
No, seriously, like an elderly person, an auntie or someone, just to hear from their perspective, because we're judging them based on our perspective.
Maybe we can get my aunt on the podcast.
Do you guys want to hear an auntie on the podcast or hear about their marriages? Let us know.
Yeah.
Maybe we can make that happen.
So even though the older generation did get things right, they did get some things wrong too.
Yeah.
Right? Their marriages did come at a cost. What was that cost?
Oh, where should we start? I mean, we just started the episode by saying that we can't even think of a single happy couple. I was able to think of one. Can you think of a happy couple? Previous generations?
Oh, God. I have to do some major mental gymnastics for this one.
Just the fact that you can't think of the top of your head, it says a lot.
So the price was resentment as a parent towards your spouse.
Okay. Yeah, resentment was definitely part of the equation.
Right? And who paid the price for it? Kids.
Kids, yeah. Like I can think of many examples. I'm not going to mention which couples, but they were like, you can hear it in their tone. Always cynical about each other, towards each other. Always critical. Like each one was trying to prove the other wrong. Each one was trying to put the blame on the other. So it was always like we're in a battle and you're trying to win more points. This is not a marriage. This is like a courtroom. Seriously. Just thinking about the couples from our parents and grandparents' generation, like when I think about them, I don't think the word love doesn't come to mind.
That's a good question. How many times have we heard from the older generation or the generation above them, the like terms of endearment?
Like there was no affection, it was more like roles. It was more like fulfilling roles.
It's like,
okay, you buy the groceries, I do the cooking,
you
the
have
laundry.
my clothes ready
exactly. We have to go to this event, this engagement. Maybe that's what we witnessed, me and you. Maybe I hope the listeners had different experiences growing up. But yeah, it definitely came on the expense of affection and love. And like you said, there was resentment.
No, it came at the expense of children.
As well.
Right.
Like I think about the women back then. They stayed in these marriages for many years, right? But did they stay out of choice or because of lack of choice?
That's a good question.
Like separation and divorce was frowned upon. It's like you brought shame to the family. Even though, subhanAllah, it is halal, it is an available option to us.
I feel like it's encouraged nowadays, not even just allowed, but they've gone a step further and
it's more especially like women, like influencer women who get divorced. I feel a lot of times they just like come out with this like resentment and all of that, and they want other women to get divorced. I don't know. They're like push for that.
Yeah. I get what you're saying.
But yeah, like women stayed in these marriages for a long time and they endured, and their endurance was praised. Actually, it's like, yeah, she's such a pious woman. Despite what she's going through with her husband, she stayed with him for the sake of the children. But was that a healthy marriage? Like, was that a healthy model for the kids to grow up witnessing?
Not at all.
Not at all. Not at all. Yeah, like I can think of one couple right now, like in the extended family, where since the beginning of the marriage, it was a miserable marriage. The woman was suffering in the marriage. The kids were suffering because of this, like, poor choice the parents did. But they never separated. They never got divorced. Nothing. And it kept this way until the husband passed away a few years ago. And now the family is able to breathe.
Wow.
Yes. Another example, I tell you, from the extended family, where this couple, like, I can't remember seeing them in agreement with each other. And it's usually in public. They would just, like, bash each other in public and still together.
I don't understand why. I feel like people really like culture dominate their lives so much that they just forget what their religion allows them to do.
Yeah. Culture came at a higher place than religion. Now, at least, we have more accessibility to proper Islamic knowledge, know your rights, know your responsibilities, you have choice. This actually takes us to the next section.
Divorce. Yeah. So divorce is something that gets thrown around so much. Like I said, it almost feels like people are encouraging one another to get divorced. And that ties into money. And like, I know somebody who's already spent upwards of $80,000 on her divorce, and it's been pending for, I think, 2 years.
Wow.
And not to say all divorces are expensive. There are some on the cheaper end, but there is so much money to be made with divorce. Yeah. It almost feels like there's an incentive.
The only person getting rich of divorce are divorce lawyers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we're not bashing divorces, but we also have to frame divorce in the right way at the same time. Because we can't just assume that higher divorce rates means that people don't have the strength and patience to get through a marriage. At the same time, lower divorce rates doesn't mean people are living healthier, fulfilling, enjoyable marriages.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
So how do we frame divorce the right way then?
It's an option. It's a halal choice, halal option. And by the way, there's a saying that people think it's a hadith, but it's not a hadith, which is الطلاق أبغض الحلال إلى الله. Like, the divorce is a halal that Allah hates, or is the most hated halal to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
I think I've heard that. Yeah.
That's absolutely not a hadith. How can it be halal and Allah hates it? It's not a hadith. Yeah.
Right.
It's a choice saved for certain situations.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what changed from back then?
So, of course, women have more employment options.
They have independence.
There's
financial independence as well.
Especially now, like within the past 10, 15 years, post Me Too, people are more vocal about women's rights and female independence and things like that.
That's great.
So, yeah.
That's great.
Obviously, back then, people weren't throwing around the term gaslighting, and now we have a term for it.
Abuse today has names. In the past, it was there, but it didn't have a name. It was just part of life, part of marriage. You have to tolerate it.
Yeah.
Now, no, you're abused, you get out of the marriage. You don't have to tolerate it. And like we said, today we have way more options. So you get divorced, you get remarried. It's not a problem. Back then, it was a shameful thing. I'm not saying it's easy. It is way difficult for divorcees. Yes.
Even today, because unfortunately there's a lot of shame associated with it.
But compared to the previous generation, it's very different.
If you're overwhelmed and burdened and just don't know where to seek help, let us help you. We can be your personal matchmakers. Visit us at halalmatch.ca and book a free call with us. So our generation did get many things right.
Absolutely.
Didn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, look at what we have available to us today that the other generation didn't. The list goes on and on and on. Premarital training, we got the love language quiz we can take, personality tests.
Therapists,
there's therapists providing free content all the time. They're doing free consults. And not to mention but Muslim therapists.
Yeah, Muslim therapists.
Ones that we've interviewed. They're
Yeah.
great resources.
Choice. We have choice.
Elaborate.
Well, we have the option of choosing between more than one person. It's not just because he's my cousin, I'm going to marry him. No, I have a say. I have a choice.
So marriages aren't as strongly pushed. I'm not going to say forced, but like in the previous generation, you're saying they were strongly pushed to get married to a certain person.
And in some
And it's
cases,
not as much now.
And in some cases, they were forced. We can't
Yeah.
like dance around it, sugarcoat it. They
Yeah,
were forced
okay.
sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah,
We
but
have
I
ch-
think the examples, like our immediate examples, I can't think of any that were forced.
No.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have options. We have independence.
Mm-hmm.
Especially, I'm talking about women. We have independence. We have consent. We can say no, like I said.
I mean, they had consent before, but it just wasn't exercised as much.
I guess you
I
could
guess.
say that.
Right? We can't say consent was completely absent.
No. We have access to Islamic knowledge beyond culture.
Okay.
We know our rights.
That's why it's so important we take premarital training.
Yep.
But what we don't have at the same time is, at least from what I can see in the immediate community, is a lack of support system.
Yes.
Right? That there is a hyper sense of individualism overtaking not just the immediate community, but I would say masjids, larger organizations, everybody wants to do it their way. I mean, we've talked about this on previous episodes. How many MSAs and masjids have we reached out to help them for free, by the way, completely for free, to do premarital workshops, to just really talk about the epidemic of singlehood, and maybe a handful got back to us. And even those handful didn't really follow up on a conversation.
Yeah.
Right? Like we were offering support,
Yeah.
and they just weren't willing to collaborate. So when coming back to the point of individualism, yes, everybody wants to do it their way. When you're reaching out for help, it doesn't seem like people are going out of their way to help them find a match. And even when people masjids are helping out, it's just
Done in a very poorly way. Poor way.
Very poor way.
Yeah.
So that's something that I really do feel the older generation got, that support system. It took a village, and they understood that concept.
Yeah. What also hurts us these days is that we put too much pressure and too much expectations on marriage. We expect our spouse to heal our wounds, bring us close to Allah, to be our therapist,
our fitness coach, our
coach,
finance coach,
exactly.
to be
everything, to fulfill everything we lack in.
I mean, we see it on the registration forms all the time.
Yes.
Like realistic expectations in a spouse. It's usually a half a page long. And then the other side, religious expectations, is another half page long.
Yeah.
And it's usually just these very flowery terms, emotional intelligence and this and that. It's like,
your spouse doesn't have to fulfill all of this. You could find some of these in other people, in a friend, in a sibling. Your spouse doesn't have to be all of that. So that's why it's getting harder to get married or stay married, because we enter marriage with these expectations, and when they're not met, we're like, no, this was a bad choice. I'm leaving.
You know what we should do as an experiment?
What?
Just do the registration form as if we're single now. Like at this stage in our life.
Oh, that's interesting.
Right? And I'm trying to imagine what I would put in those sections. I don't know.
Okay, you know what? Let's do it.
All right, we'll do it.
We'll do it.
And then maybe we'll
compare.
share the results on an episode maybe.
Sure.
Okay, sounds good. But yeah, like you said, we place too many unrealistic expectations on our spouse. So it hurts us more than it helps us for sure.
And another thing you mentioned before is that we overanalyze everything. We could have a proposal or a prospect, and we overanalyze the hell out of them.
Oh, you're talking about analysis paralysis?
Yes, yes. And we do that so much that we just stay put. We don't enter. We're not moving forward.
Yeah, we were just joking about this before we start recording. So what is this person's attachment style? What is their categorization of their personality? Are they an INTJ or IFTC?
If they're not this type, if they don't have this attachment style, if they don't have this language, this love language, then they're not a good... Like these things, these tools are great. We're not against these tools. We use them when we try to assess compatibility.
Right.
But we don't heavily rely on them.
The best way to put it, it's not a determining factor, right?
Exactly.
It's kind of a nudge, right? For lack of a better term, like kind of like more of an inclination that, okay, there is another level of compatibility that I should consider.
Yeah.
But no, it's not an end-all be-all determining factor at all.
And, also what our generation has, unfortunately, lack of tolerance. We don't have patience anymore. I mean, just the other day, I read this study. It's about this generation, not us, the millennials, but the, what are they called? Gen Z and Gen Alpha. They don't have patience to watch a 30-second clip on TikTok. They have to play it at double speed.
Well, that's why the movie industry is struggling.
Right? Yeah. So we don't have patience to cook a meal. We don't have patience to watch a video or to watch a lecture or something, let alone how are we going to have patience to...
Delayed gratification is kind of completely out of the picture.
Yeah. So how are we going to have patience to grow with this person and just like work on the relationship and try to understand each other and all of that? Like it takes time, it takes effort.
Yeah, that reminds me, we really have to be diligent about not introducing devices to our kids.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Because the moment you introduce that and the swiping happens, the dopamine starts to kick in and the instant fix mentality, it all has a ripple effect.
So we need to start training ourselves actually to use our devices way less.
That's true. Yeah. That's true. We have to be those models.
Yeah.
So the big question is, what is the solution? And the solution, obviously, like I've always said in almost every episode, is rooted in Islam. It's about understanding marriage through an Islamic lens. I clearly recall saying this in almost every workshop we've done. Islam does not give you a daily prescription of how to lead a fulfilling, happy marriage. It doesn't say, wake up and do this at 12 p.m., do this at 6 p.m. With your wife, and you will be happy. That's not how Islam works.
That would have been great to just have like a set ready formula.
Then it wouldn't work for every person on the planet.
I know,
right?
I'm just joking.
Obviously, yes. But what Islam says is that it provides a framework. All right? And within that framework is, for example, as the Quran says in Surah Rum, mawaddatan wa rahma. Right? The framework includes rights and responsibilities. It's about growing with your spouse. But what it doesn't promise is, like I said, that conflicts won't happen, that you'll be happy every second of every moment of every day, right? I mean, if the Prophet ﷺ had marital conflict, who is to say that we won't?
Yeah.
Right?
Marriage is part of life. And just like any other part of life, just like your work, you'll have happy days. You'll have not so much happy days. You'll have days where you want to run away, but you don't. And you have times where you feel so loving and like your spouse is your best friend. So it has ups and downs. We have to make peace with that. And not just at the first conflict or the first disagreement, run away.
No, of course. Of course not.
Yeah.
Think of it this way, guys. The best way to understand marriage is that marriage is a form of sakina and it is not your source of dopamine.
Exactly. You're not going to be hit with this like excitement 24/7 and this like rush and the chemistry, and it's not a source for dopamine. If you enter marriage with this expectation, then just know that you're going to be disappointed.
Yeah. So you shared a lot of examples and stories of people that were in miserable marriages for a very, very long time.
Yeah.
And obviously they stayed in those marriages for whatever reason. I don't know. It could have been for the children, could have been because of lack of options, financial stability, whatever it is. And obviously things have changed since that generation. And now people have options, or there is the illusion of options, but more options than before, right? Because now there's employment opportunities and support systems for women. So do you feel that women should stay in kind of emotionally dead marriages for longevity? I mean, ultimately what I'm asking is it better to be with somebody that is not making you emotionally satisfied, or is it better to be alone?
Oh, wow. That's very deep.
Because there is a good chance that you might not find someone else.
Yeah. I kind of feel uncomfortable answering this question because I'm not in anyone's situation. I'm not in anyone's shoes to decide. So it would be unfair for me to say, no, you shouldn't stay, or no, you should stay. Each circumstance is different, but I can answer for my own self. I'm not giving advice to anyone. For my own self, if I was in a miserable marriage, if I was emotionally deprived, I was in a marriage where I feel the happiest when my spouse leaves home, and I feel depressed when he comes back. If I was in that situation, then I would personally leave.
Wow, God forbid.
God forbid, God forbid, God forbid.
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention, like, God forbid, if there was any emotional or physical abuse. I'm not talking even about abuse.
That's a separate discussion.
That's a separate discussion.
Yeah.
But if I was in a miserable marriage, then I think for me, at least, being alone would be better.
Yeah. I don't know how I would feel. I think I'm with you on that. Like, why be with someone that's just sucking your energy when you can not be with that person, right? Like, Islamically, you don't have to be with that person.
Yeah, but like you said, you run the risk of being alone for the rest of your life. But maybe it's better.
Yeah,
maybe it's healthier.
Yeah, and that frees you up, right? Because now you don't have the commitment to the other person, and you can find fulfillment through other avenues.
Yeah, and maybe that's just being too optimistic. Maybe life will get harder. Maybe it's true that the spouse doesn't offer the emotional fulfillment I need, but maybe he offers financial stability. He offers protection, where I don't have to go and fend for myself in the society. Mm-hmm. So that's why every situation is different.
Yeah, couldn't agree with you more there.
So before we leave you guys, just like we've been doing for the past few episodes, and I hope you've been downloading them, check out the PDF file for this episode, the checklist for this PDF. I'm not going to share details about it. Go and find it yourself because it's really interesting. And let us know your thoughts on the episode.
Yeah, anything resonate with you guys? Did you guys feel, I don't know, did your parents or grandparents have happy, fulfilling marriages? Can you guys share a marriage from that generation?
I'd really love just a glimpse of hope.
Yes.
Please.
Because we kind of painted a gloomy, dark picture.
That's based on our experiences.
But yeah, like you said, we'd love to hear something nice. Yeah. Something rosy and beautiful.
Uplifting, inshallah.
All right. Until next time.
Assalamu alaikum.